Timing analysis is used to verify the timing, or we can say to verify the timing performance of any circuit or chip. First we'll see the difference between the dynamic timing analysis and static timing analysis. Dynamic timing analysis verifies functionality of the design by applying input vectors and checking for correct output vectors, whereas static timing analysis checks static delays requirement of the circuit without any input or output vectors. So analysis times are relatively short and STA does not check for logical correctness of the design. Quality increases with the increase of input test vectors, whereas in static, clock related all information has to be fed to the design in the form of constraints, and the correctness of the constraint decides the quality. In DTA, increased test vectors increases simulation time, whereas in static, timing can be analyzed the worst case and the best case simultaneously, and also all timing paths are considered. DTA can be used for synchronous as well as asynchronous designs. STA not suitable for asynchronous designs. DTA also best suitable for designs having clocks crossing multiple domains. STA not suitable for designs having clock crossing multiple domains. Computational complexity involves in finding the input patterns vectors that produces maximum delays at the output. STA has more pessimism and thus gives maximum delay of the design and STA, and it works with timing models. In DTA, there is no concept of slack or min-max analysis, whereas static analysis is done with respect to the clock. Dynamic supports timing loops, whereas STA can't handle timing loops. Static timing analysis. Effective methodology for verifying the timing characteristics of a design without any use of test vectors. Static timing analysis can be done only for RTL designs. Functionality of the design must be cleared before the design is subjected to STA. STA approach typically takes a fraction of the time it takes to run logic simulation. STA tool analyzes all paths from each and every start point to each and every end point and compares it against the constraints that exist for that path. Start and end points can be start point, input port other than a clock port, and clock pin of a flip-flop or register. Endpoints can be any pin input of a sequential device except clock pin, and output port other than a clock port. Main steps of STA. It breaks the design into sets of timing paths, calculates the delay of each path, and check all path delays to see if the given timing constraints are met. STA inputs and outputs are gate level netlist generated from synthesis or PNR tool. Libraries. These are libs or .db files which include timing power, crosstalk, and other information related to cells. Design constraints, which include clock frequency, boundary constraints, as well as exceptions to the constraints. This can be input as well as written to the tool. SDF, standard delay format, which captures the timing information. Parasitics. These are net R and C values which are extracted from PNR tool or any extraction tool like StarRC. This is prime time timing report generated by command report underscore timing. There are 4 sections in the timing report, that is header, data arrival, data required, and slack. We will go through each section one by one. The header section consists of start point named flip-flop 1 and end point name which is flip-flop 2. Then there is a path group name, the path group to which the timing path belongs, and the path type here is max, which means this is setup report. If the path type was min, it will be whole timing report. Data arrival section, which reports the total time taken for the data to arrive at D pin of flip-flop 2. If we see in the circuit, it is quite clear about from where the delay are happening, as clock rise age is 0, clock network delay, that is clock port to the clock pin of flip-flop 1 is 1.1 ns. There is clock to Q delay of 0.5 ns and delays from Q pin of flip-flop 1 to D pin of flip-flop 2, also called combinational delays, that is a Q of flip-flop 1 to U2 to U3 and U3 to D pin of flip-flop 2. The data required section which reports the total time taken by the clock to arrive clock pin of flip-flop 1 minus the setup time of flip-flop 2. Here in the path from clock port, clock rise age takes 4 ns, clock network delay takes 1 ns of 2 buffer delays. Then there is setup time of 0.21 which has to be subtracted and we get the data required time. Now coming to the annotations, there can be star, ampersand, plus, h, r and f. I'll discuss one by one. Star here for standard delay format back annotation, it can be n%. After an incremental delay, number shows that the delay number is calculated with resistor capacitor, that is RC network back annotation. There can be plus for lumped RC, H for hybrid annotation, then R in the path column for the rising edge of the signal, F in the path column for the falling edge of the signal. Most of the timing reports use NS for time unit. However, you can use the prime time command report underscore units to report all the units such as capacitance, resistance, time, voltage units used by the design. The slack section is subtraction of required time and arrival time. In this report, the timing is met as the slack is positive. If it was negative, there could have been violations. This is an example of hold timing report. You can just go through it. Clock storage elements, which are transparent latch and D-type register. A transparent latch is level sensitive. Data passes through latch when clock is high and latched when clock is low. And in D-type register flip-flop, it is edge trigger. So data captured on rising edge of clock held for rest of the cycle. Delays. Time taken by a signal to propagate through a cell or net. Actual path delay is sum of net and cell delays along the timing path. Cell delay is a function of the input transition time, that is slew rate, to total output load, that is net cap plus sum of attached pin caps, and process parameters such as temperature and power levels. Intrinsic delay, internal to the cell from input pin to output pin caused by internal capacitance. Propagation delay, delay by a cell for a change of input signal to result a change at output signal as a function of input slew and output load. Propagation delay can be low to high and high to low. Maximum propagation delay, that is clock to Q, is considered for setup check. Contamination delay, best case delay from valid input to output. Minimum propagation delay, that is clock to Q, which is called contamination delay, is considered for hold check. Net delay, total time for charging discharging all the parasitic present in the given net. Timing arc is internal to the cell. The combinational cell has timing arc from each input to each output of the cell. Flip-flops have timing arcs from the clock input pin to data output Q pin, that is propagation delay or delay arc from clock input pin to data input D pin, that is setup hold checks constraints arc. Latches have two timing arcs, that is clock pin to output Q pin when D is stable and data D pin to output Q pin when D changes, that is latch is transparent. Every cell has multiple timing arcs. For example, a combinational logic cell such as AND or NAND NOR adder cells has timing arcs from each input to each output of the cell. Sequential cells such as flip-flops have timing arcs from clock to the output and timing constraints from data pin and respect to the clock. Each timing has a timing sense, that is how the output changes for different types of transitions on input. The timing arc is positive unit if rising transition on an input causes the output to rise or not to change, and a falling transition on an input cause the output to fall or not to change. For example, the timing arc for AND or type cells are positive unit as shown in the figure. A negative unit timing arc is one where a rising transition on an input causes the output to have a falling transition or not to change, and a falling transition on an input causes the output to have a rising transition or not to change. For example, the timing arcs for NAND and NOR type cells are negative unit. In a non-unit timing arc, the output transition cannot be determined solely from the direction of change of an input but also depends upon the state of the other input. For example, the timing arcs in an XOR cell, exclusive OR, are non-unit. Unitness is important for timing as it specifies how the edges, that is transition, can be propagated through a cell, how they appear at the output of a cell. One can take advantage of non-unitness property of timing arc, such as when an XOR cell is used to invert the polarity of a clock. Clock definitions in STA. Synchronous clock. Two clocks are synchronous with respect to each other. Timing paths launched by one clock and captured by another. Asynchronous clock. Two clocks are asynchronous with respect to each other if no timing relation, that STA, can't be applied, so the tool won't check the timing. Mutually exclusive clocks. Only one clock can be active at the circuit at any given time. Generated clocks. Clock generated from a clock source as a multiple of the source clock frequency. The frequency can be multiple or can be divided by the source clock. Virtual clocks exist but not associated with any pin or port of the design, used as a reference in STA to specify input delays and output loads relative to a clock needed to fix the input to reg and rest to output violations. By defining virtual clock, I/O constraints can be defined relative to this virtual clock with no specification of the source port or pin. Timing paths is a point-to-point path in a design which can propagate data from one flip-flop to another. Each path has a start point and an end point. Start point can be input port or clock pins of flip-flops, and end points this is output port or data input pins of flip-flops. Timing path groups are grouped into path groups by clock controlling their endpoints. First one, input pin or port to register are delays of chip plus combinational logic delays of the first sequential device. Register to register start at a sequential device. The delays can be calculated with clock to Q transition delay plus the combinational logic delay plus external delay requirements. Reg to output pin are delay and timing constraint setup and hold times between sequential devices for synchronous clocks. The delay source and destination clock propagate times. Input pin port to output pin. Delay of chip plus combinational logic delays plus external delay requirements. Clock latency. Total time taken by the clock signal to reach the input pin of register. Source latency is the time between clock source to clock definition ports. Network latency is the time between clock definition port to clock leave cell in the design. Insertion delay is the clock latency but after clock tree is synthesized. Insertion delay is the physical delay and clock latency is the virtual delay. Latency is a target given to the tool through SDC file or clock tree attributes file, and insertion delay is achieved delay value after CTS. Clock uncertainty is the time difference between the arrival of clock signal at register in one clock domain or between domains. Uncertainties include clock skew, clock jitter, and clock margin. Clock skew refers to the absolute time difference in the clock signal arrival between 2 points in the clock network. Skew can be T launch minus T capture clock. Positive skew occurs when the capture clock is late with respect to launch clock. Negative skew occurs when the capture clock is early with respect to launch clock. Local skew is the skew between the clock phase delays of two flip-flops which are the source and target flop of a path, that is source to destination flop. Global skew is the difference between the longest and shortest branch of a clock tree, max insertion delay minus min insertion delay. Clock jitter is a short-term variation of a signal with respect to its ideal position in time. The two major components of jitter are random jitter and deterministic jitter. Factor causing jitter includes imperfection in clock oscillator, supply voltage variation, temperature variation, and crosstalk. Glitch: unexpected switching of any waveform due to late arrival time of gate and it is for a short period of time, cause extra delay, and also it can cause extra power from false transitions. Pulse width is the time between the active and inactive state of the same signal. Minimum high pulse width is the amount of time the rising edge of a clock that the clock signal of a clock device must remain stable. Minimum low pulse width is the amount of time after the falling edge of a clock that the clock signal of a clock device must stay stable. Duty cycle. Duty cycle. Percentage of clock period having high pulse. Typically clock waveforms are 50% duty cycles. Transition slew. Time taken by a signal to change the state, that is volts per second. Rise slew is called rise time and fall slew is called fall time. Minimum maximum transition is the minimum maximum slope allowed at leaf pins. Transition affects power dissipation, latency, and pulse width. Asynchronous path. A path from an input port to a asynchronous set or clear pin of a sequential element. Critical path. The path which creates longest delay, also called worst path, late path, and max path. Timing sensitive functional paths, no additional gates are allowed to be added to the path. Shortest path, one that takes the shortest time. This is also called the best path or early path or a minimum path. Clock gating path, path passed through a gated element to achieve additional advantages. Clock gating transformation does not change the state of the flops and registers. Launch path is the launch clock path which is responsible for launching the data at launch flip-flop. Capture path is capture clock path which is responsible for capturing the data at capture flip-flop. Arrival time, launch path and data together constitute arrival time and data at the input of capture flip-flop. Required time, capture clock period and its path delay together constitute required time of data at the input of capture register. Common path pessimism. Same clock path may be launch path for one data path and can be capture path for another data path. While doing OCV derating, same path may get both min and max delay. But a path can have either as a maximum delay or a minimum delay or anything in between, but never both delays at the same time. STA tools will have techniques to remove artificial introduced pessimism between the launch clock path and the capture clock path. Slack is the difference between required time and the arrival time. Positive slack at a node implies that the arrival time at that node may be increased without affecting the overall delay of the circuit. Negative slack implies that a path is too slow and the path must speed up if the whole circuit is to work at a desired speed. Setup time is the minimum amount of time the data signal should be held steady before the clock event so that the data are reliably sampled by the clock. Setup time equation is given as T launch clock plus T clock to Q max plus T combination max, which is less than equal to T capture clock minus setup. T capture minus T launch is nothing but the skew. Hold time is the minimum amount of time the data signal should be held steady after the clock event so that the data are reliably sampled, and is given by T launch clock plus T clock to min plus T combo min more than equal to T capture clock plus hold. Setup time and hold time violations. If setup time, that is T setup for a flip flop, and if the data is not stable before T setup from the active edge of clock, then there is a setup violation at that flip flop. If hold time, that is T hold for a flip flop, and if the data is not stable after T hold time from the inactive edge of clock, then there is a hold violation at that flip flop. For a single cycle circuit, the signal has to propagate through data path in one clock cycle. Recovery time is the minimum time that an asynchronous control input pin must be stable after being deasserted and before the next clock transition, that is active edge. Removal time is the minimum time that an asynchronous control input pin must be stable before being deasserted and before the previous clock transition, that is active edge. Recovery time and removal time violations. This check is to ensure that the asynchronously signal rise and fall edge is not occurring at the clock edge. It should be some time before or after the clock edge. If that violates, then recovery time and removal time violations. Although a flip-flop is asynchronously set or clear, the negative from its reset state is synchronous. Single cycle path. Timing path that is designed to take only one cycle for the data to propagate from the start point to the end point. Start point and end points are flop clocked by the same clock. By default, tool will consider all timing paths as single cycle paths. Multi-cycle path. Timing path that is designed to take more than one clock cycle for the data to propagate from the start point to the end point. Start point and end point are flop clocked by the same clock. Need to specify the launch age and capturing age in SDC. Half cycle path. Timing path that is designed to take half clock cycle, both of the clock edges, for the data to propagate from the start point to the end point. Start point and end points are flop clocked by the same clock. No need to specify the launch age and capturing age in SDC since the tool can identify it from the netlist. False path physically exist in the design but are logically functionally inactive incorrect path means no data is transferred from start point to end point. The goal in STA is to do timing analysis on all true timing paths, so these paths are excluded from timing analysis. Similarly, timing can be disabled for a pin or port or cell where the delay will be computed but won't report it. Clock domain crossing. For design with asynchronous clock domains, the CDC signal violates the setup hold window for the receiving clock, resulting in metastability. Metastability results in unpredictable values and unpredictable delays. Those clocks has to be balanced together, else due to difference in the latency that may lead to timing violations. Max delay constraint is used to make CDC part to get synchronized. Pulse width check. The control signals is stable for longer than one receive clock period. Ensures that data will not be lost due to inadequate width of the control signal. Data stability check. The data updated by the transmit domain cannot be captured by the immediately following receive clock edge. Ensures that the captured data will not be metastable in the receiver domain. Bottleneck analysis lists the cell causing the timing violation on multiple paths. By identifying and fixing the violation caused by bottleneck cell, improved timing can be achieved. Multi-VT cells. Different threshold voltage are achieved by implanting dopants in different concentration. Need multi-VT libraries. Sub-threshold leakage varies exponentially with threshold voltage compared to weaker dependency of delay over threshold voltage. If the optimization target is power performance, First use the HVT cells library and then try LVT cells. If the optimization target is to meet timing, then first use LVT cells and then HVT cells. If you swap the capture flop from SVT to LVT or HVT, there will be very minimal setup hold impact in the most flops. It is zero impact for hold. If you swap the launch flop from SVT to LVT or HVT, setup will be improved and hold will be impacted correspondingly. High voltage threshold used in non-timing critical paths, used in power critical paths, has lower leakage and low speed. A low voltage threshold LVT used in timing critical paths, used in non-power critical paths, has high leakage and high speed. Standard voltage threshold, regular voltage threshold SVT RVT, medium delay and medium power requirements. Time borrowing is the property of a launch by virtue of which a path ending at a latch can borrow time from the next path in pipeline, such that the overall time of the two paths remains the same. The time borrowed by the latch from the next stage in pipeline is then subtracted from the next path time. Let's consider a clock of time period 10. As you can see, 10, 20, 30 are the clock periods. Now we'll consider a reg to reg path, that is flip-flop 1 to flip-flop 2, flip-flop 2 to flip-flop 3. In between we have the combinational logic A and B. So as you can see, whatever the data launched at flip-flop 1, that is we'll launch the data at 0, will be captured at flip-flop T at period of 10. We'll consider this for ideal case of setup time and hold time by time period of 0. Even clock skew and clock delay is 0. Similarly, if we launch data at flip-flop 2, that is 10, it will be captured by the flip-flop 3 at 20. Now, if the combinational delay has some delay, say 2 nanoseconds, now our data will reach 2 seconds late, that is it will take 12 seconds. So the flip-flop 2 will not capture the data. Here it is a big problem. So we can use a latch. Here it is positive level sensitive latch. That means whenever clock is high, the latch will work for half period of time. So as you can see, in place it will work till 15, meaning it will be transparent from 10 to 15. So what is the benefit of using latch? So even there is delay of +2, latch can take the data as property of transparency, but this time will be reduced from the latch to flip-flop 3. So flip-flop 3 must gain the data before 20. Time borrowing scenarios. Scenario 1. When data is launching from a positive edge triggered flip-flop and capture is to a negative level sensitive latch. Scenario 2. When launch is from a negative level sensitive latch and capture is to positive edge triggered flip-flop. Scenario 3. When launch and capture are from positive level sensitive latches. Time borrowing typically only affects setup slack calculation since time borrowing slows data arrival times. When the clock of the launching and capturing latches are out of phase, time borrowing is not to happen. Time borrowing can be multi-stage. Maximum borrow time, that is clock pulse width minus the library setup time of the latch. Negative borrow time, arrival time minus the clock age in a negative number. The amount of time borrowing is negative, no borrowing. The amount of time borrowing is negative, then there is no borrowing. Types of static timing analysis. Path-based STA. First, extract all possible topologies paths. Next, for each path calculate its delays and compare it with endpoint required value. Calculate the arrival time AT by adding cell delay in timing paths. Check all path delay to see if the given required arrival time is met. Graph-based STA. Two types of timing data. Arrival time AT propagated forward from inputs. Required arrival time propagated from outputs. Slack is calculated on every design element that is slack is equal to required time minus arrival time. Difference between path based STA and group based STA. You can check out the distinguished table as shown below. This is an example of block based STA versus path based STA example. Path based STA.